Welcome everyone to CivilNet. I'm joined today by Stepan Baghdassarian, founder and CEO of winesofarmenia.com. Stepan, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So to start, can you give us a brief overview of your business and how you got started? What attracted you to Armenian wine in the first place?
Well, being a wine lover and someone who's been involved in the wine business since 2005, I saw the evolution and the improvements of quality of Armenian wines over the years. 10, 15 years ago, honestly, Armenian wines were not really that good. They either taste like molasses or vinegar. Because of diaspora involvement and investments, quality of Armenian wines have been going up and up and up and up. Now we've reached world-class level. That doesn't mean we have to stay there. We still have to improve on it. There's a lot of work to be done. But nevertheless, we're getting there, and we're competing with international wine regions, international wines, international brands, and I wanted to be part of that. But 10 years ago, we launched winemaking.com as a platform for showcasing premium Armenian wines in the United States. And we're happy that we're getting there. At the moment, we are the retailer with the largest selection of Armenian wines in the United States. We ship to 43 states. And with the latest launch of our new website, there's nothing like it, whether it's in Armenia or anywhere else, where we are able to search by grape varietals, by wine regions within Armenia, by color, style, and of course by wineries. It's something that we wanted to offer to the American wine consumer because Armenian wines are as good as they get anywhere else from the world, and we're happy to offer it to them.
So I'm really glad you're here because I think you have a really interesting perspective on this. Here in Armenia, we speak a lot with local wine producers, but we hear a lot less from the marketing, importing, distribution, and retail side. What are the challenges there, and what still needs to be improved in your view?
Marketing. There's a lot more work needs to be done, whether by people like us, who are importers and retailers, or by various governmental agencies, or by wineries themselves who are in Armenia, and yet they want to sell their wine, which I appreciate, but there's more work to be done. Just because we pick up Armenian wines here in Yerevan doesn't mean that their work is done. They have to continue maintaining, marketing, promoting, coming into various wine events, wine conferences, whether it's in the United States or Europe, just promote the Armenian wine brand. Armenia is uniquely placed producing fantastic wines. Armenia has high altitude wines. They have indigenous grape varietals. They have no phylloxera. They have over 6,000 years of winemaking tradition and constant cultivation of Armenian grape varietals over and over and over again for over 6,000 years. We're perfectly placed to produce world-class wines, which we are. We want more of it, and we also want to create more Armenian wine drinkers. That's where marketing comes in, and we're happy to do our part.
So I'm glad that you bring up the varietals because I have a question there. On our program in the past few years, we've had a number of wine producers on. I'm thinking specifically of Victoria Aslanyan from Armas, Adam Kablanyan from Alexandria. And I remember a very interesting point that Adam raised when I was speaking with him. He was saying about how he chooses to grow foreign varietals in the Armenian terroir, his argument being that it's easier to market foreign varietals internationally than indigenous Armenian varietals. What do you think about that approach?
Adam is a dear friend of mine, and we represent his wines in the United States. And there's so many grape wines that are available, whether indigenous Armenian varietal or European varietals. It's just a matter of what you want to produce and what you want to offer to your consumers, whether it's in Armenia, United States, or Europe. Adam believes that growing French varietals, whether it's Riesling, Chardonnay, or Pinot Noir, serves that purpose as long as these are Armenian wines, which happen to be European varietals. Others believe that since we have such rich history and tradition of indigenous Armenian grape varietals, at the last count over 300 different varietals, why not offer those to the world? There's no right or wrong answer here. It's just a matter of what Adam wants to offer, what Victoria wants to offer. And we're happy to offer both of them to the consumer in the United States.
Absolutely. To that point, to sell overseas, to sell in a place like the United States, Armenian wine, whether it's the indigenous varietals or foreign varietals, need to have some kind of competitive advantage, price point, quality, something. Where do you see Armenian wine's competitive advantage?
At the moment, the competitive advantage is more of a uniqueness of the varietals and uniqueness of their taste profile, of the nose, what Armenian terroir offers when it comes to these varietals. And if you're a wine lover in the United States, and if you're looking for the next thing, Armenian wines are the next thing. And a Chardonnay grown in Armenia doesn't take anything like Chardonnay grown in Napa Valley or Santa Barbara. It's just a matter of offering a different perspective on the taste profile. But as I said, there's so many great Armenian varietals here, whether it's Voskehat White or Areni Red. By the way, those two have become the champions so far as far as exports are concerned. Most of the white wines that are coming out of Armenia right now are Voskehat, whereas most of the red wines coming out of Armenia right now are Areni. But here's where terroir plays a big role. An Areni grown in Vayotsor tastes different, smells different than Areni grown in Aragatsot. It's just a terroir, the land, the air, the sea, the whole thing comes together and makes a different presentation within the same grape varietal. And that's the beauty of wine. No two are alike, no two vintages are alike. So if you're into wine, you're looking for that next vintage. You want to compare it to the previous vintage. That's why people hold vertical tastings where they taste the same wine from different vintages to see where the wine is going, the effects of rain, the season, all these things come into play. And that's the beauty of wine.
I want to press you a little bit about the competitive advantage point, just because I completely understand what you're saying, but that novelty will wear off eventually, right? Hopefully in 10, 20 years, Voskehat becomes known, Areni becomes known. At that point, where do you see things shifting?
Okay. With the exception of a couple of major wine producers in Armenia, Armenian wines don't have a price competitive advantage at this time. They're not inexpensive. They're mid-price wines. In order for the consumer to repeatedly buy that wine, they have to be getting some value out of it, something new out of it, something they're going to enjoy more of. That's where the difference in terroir, the expression of the grape, the style of the winemaker come into play, because we're not offering them inexpensive wines with no character, with no taste. Rather, we're offering them wines that are unique, that are different, and a lot of them are exceptionally made. A lot of them have garnered many high accolades, scores, and what have you, because of their uniqueness. So, and part of the reason is we don't have the competitive price advantage because a lot of these smaller wineries don't have the scale for producing large quantities of wines. But here's something else. If you're a skilled winemaker who's making premium wines, you don't want to make large quantities of bulk type of wine where you're, just because it has some red color and alcohol doesn't make that wine. You just have to have the unique expression of your land and the style of the winemaker.
That's really helpful. Thanks for laying that out. I also want to talk about what the Armenian government is or is not doing in this area. I understand that that's something that you know about as well. Can you compare and contrast the Armenian government's approach with, say, the Georgian government's approach? I understand the Georgian government, for example, is quite active in its support of the country's wine industry. What do you see here?
I've attended many of the international conferences or trade shows that Armenian wineries attend via the organization called Vine and Wine Foundation, which I understand is mostly financed through the Armenian government.
Yes.
They're doing a good job, but there's a lot more needs to be done. The reason we have some oversaturation of Armenian wines in the United States right now, because we're not producing Armenian wine drinkers fast enough, which requires more marketing, more promotion. I don't want to compare Armenia to Georgia, but it's important for us to know what they're doing. Georgian government spends millions of dollars a year promoting Georgian wines, Georgian wine regions, Georgian wine varietals. I was at a conference last week in Dallas, Texas, where Wines of Georgia was a premium major sponsor. For 150 people, they had brought a whole team of knowledgeable people about Georgian wines, and they poured over 100 different wines in the 2 days of conference. I get press releases constantly from Georgian various agencies or the PR firm that they have in New York City, where Georgians are spending literally millions of dollars promoting Georgian wines from China to Japan to Europe, anywhere, everywhere that people are drinking wine. They're making a big effort. Here's the power of marketing is playing a big role. Georgia is known for producing wines in kvevri, which are in the clay, or karasses. Yet people think that most of the Georgian wines are aged in karasses. It's only 2.5%. Yet they've done such a great job of promoting that concept, which they make it unique to them, even though Armenians do the same thing. Yet that's the power of marketing.
I see. And also with regard to marketing, this year's United Nations Global Conference on Wine Tourism is actually happening here this week, right now, in Yerevan.
Yes.
What does it say to you about where Armenia is on the global wine map that it's Armenia hosting this year's conference? And does that match up with what you see as you work to distribute and market Armenian wine across the US? Is there really this increased attention, increased focus, increased awareness?
There's more and more awareness, there's more and more attention. It's wonderful that the UN Conference on Wine Tourism is being held here. A lot of bloggers, a lot of press, a lot of people in the tourism industries are here this week because of this. This is a wonderful opportunity for Armenia to showcase its talent, to showcase this beautiful city of Yerevan and its fantastic wineries up and down the entire country. We need more of these. These people are going to go back, write about Yerevan, write about Armenia, write about Armenian wines. It's a fantastic opportunity for us to showcase Armenia and the Armenian wine industry.
And one final question for you, Stepan. I understand you like to say every wine should tell a good story. To you, what's the story of Armenian wine?
That's a very good question. When I'm talking to people in the United States, I tell them Armenia is going through a wine renaissance. We were the leaders of our winemaking going back at least 6,200 years, possibly more. And we're back. We made a comeback. And we're at the small stage of infancy at the moment. Sky's the limit. We just have to build on these successes, be particular about what we're doing, pay attention to detail, take care of the land, take care of our people, and sky's the limit. And that's the story of Armenian winemaking. It's a renaissance of winemaking. It's a renaissance of Armenian wines, and I'm happy to be part of it. And my job is to make more and more people Armenian wine drinkers.
Well, Stepan, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you very much for having me. I really appreciate this, and thank you.
And thank you for joining us on CivilNet.